Dust, dirt, and grit, these things definitely belong outside the engine. They're really just the smallest forms of rocks and gravel, and just as abrasive. Even the tiniest particles will carve at a bearing surface like sand on glass. Having a good air filter that will trap all this airborne shrapnel before it gets sucked inside the engine is a no-brainer, especially in an application like this. But what about everyday city or highway driving? This air's relatively clean, right? No dust flying, no grit being churned up. Maybe here, air filtration isn't such a big deal. Well, if you believe that, you're not thinking clearly. It's easy to imagine air as empty space, but every time you see a beam of sunlight, you're looking at proof that it's not. In fact, air is chock full of fine dirt particles, 400 tons per cubic mile over a typical city. The internal combustion engine runs on a mixture of air and fuel. And like the name says, combustion is internal. Air must be drawn into the engine. Inside, the engine is a frenzy of moving metal. A thin film of oil lubricates and cools the parts so friction won't burn them up. But if a boulder of grit is drawn between these microscopic tolerances, the oil film breaks down and engine wear can be rapid and disastrous. If left unchecked, the ingestion of airborne abrasives can reduce the life expectancy of an engine by 60 to 80%. It's why spacecraft and computer hard drives, anything with precision moving parts that could be compromised by dust and other contaminants, are assembled in clean rooms. In here, the air is meticulously filtered to remove harmful particles. An engine is no different. To protect precision components, to prevent wear and costly repair bills, to promote long life and optimum performance, the environment inside an engine must also be a clean room. Filtration is the key. Passing air through a media that will trap particles before they enter the engine. Traditionally, this media is cellulose, organic fibers compressed and folded into thin sheets. It looks and feels a lot like ordinary paper because that's exactly what it is. In theory, this bird's nest of fibers will catch and hold dirt. In reality, only the largest particles will be captured for sure. Anything smaller can dodge and weave right through. It shouldn't surprise anyone that such a low-tech solution has serious drawbacks. And here's another. Have you ever tried to breathe through something like this? An average engine has to ingest 1,200 cubic feet of air to combust a single gallon of gasoline. That's a huge amount. And yet, as a typical paper filter becomes plugged with dust, airflow through the filter is even more restricted. Less air means less power, poorer fuel economy. Let's face it, things are going from bad to worse. So how do you win this battle? Is there a better line of defense, or is armoring your vehicle like a tank the only solution? Actually, it is. After years of development, AMSOIL, the company that adapted synthetic motor oil from aerospace technology and revolutionized an industry, has introduced nanofiber filtration for cars and trucks. AMSOIL EA air filters use the same advanced technology developed for the Abrams M1 Tank, one of the most severe filtration applications imaginable. Nanofibers represent the cutting edge in filtration technology. Using an advanced electrospinning process, synthetic filaments are woven into a thin web, so thin that the cellulose substrate literally dwarfs the nanofibers. If you want to trap the most particles, you've got to cast a fine net. And this web of nanofibers is a sub-micron filter. In other words, it will stop even the smallest contaminants. Here in this test lab, AMSOIL EA filters are bombarded with every type of dust and grit imaginable. And even the finest particles are no match for the tiny weave of the nanofibers. Side-by-side comparisons with less sophisticated filter media prove that EA filters provide a quantum leap in filtration efficiency, trapping up to 5 times more dust than traditional cellulose and 50 times more than wet cotton gauze, another common filtration method. EA stands for absolute efficiency, and by removing virtually all contaminants, these advanced filters really live up to the name. But stopping dirt is only half the story. Remember, an engine also has to breathe. So let's talk power and performance. Nobody puts a higher premium on raw horsepower than racing pros. These engines are made for one thing: speed. When the throttle is flat out in one of these machines, the engine is sucking air like a jet turbine, and it can't afford to lose a single molecule. So what kind of air filtration system is currently undergoing aggressive testing for these power plants? You guessed it, state-of-the-art nanofiber technology for maximum airflow and maximum performance. Under the electron microscope, it's easy to see why the EA filter's airflow is so much better. The nanoweb is made up of micro-thin fibers. It's mostly empty space. While the paper filter looks like a crowded forest. Not much room for the wind to blow through here, especially once the filter begins to collect dirt. With the cellulose media, dust and dirt particles are loaded throughout the depth of the filter. Eventually, it's like a full vacuum bag in there, and the airflow is choked off, starving the engine. But the nanofibers capture dirt on the surface, where the airflow actually accelerates as it streams around submicron particles, delivering all the air an engine will ever need. Once again, AMSOIL EA air filters vastly outperform the competition. They'll hold 60% more dust than cellulose while delivering maximum airflow, not to mention maximum fuel economy and horsepower. And here's another benefit. There's only one thing you can do with a used paper air filter, and then you'll have to pony up for a new one, anywhere between 8 to 10 times over the average life of a vehicle. And cleaning a renewable filter, like wet cotton gauze, is a big, messy production. On the other hand, an AMSOIL EA filter is easily cleaned. No oil, no cleaning solution, just a little TLC with some compressed air or the shop vac, and it's as good as new. In fact, EA air filters are guaranteed for 4 years or 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. That's another big money saver. Let's see, absolute efficiency, absolute capacity, absolute airflow, and absolute economy. Nanofiber technology seems like a pretty smart choice. The U.S. Army certainly thinks so. And it's piqued the interest of the racing world. And now, thanks to AMSOIL, you and your vehicle can breathe easier. Whether in the city, on the highway, or on gravel country roads, air filtration is a critical factor affecting any engine's life and performance. AMSOIL EA air filters, available for most cars and trucks, as well as for high-performance vehicles, motorcycles, and a host of other applications, are the world's most advanced air filter line. Absolutely.